Okay.
Okay, let's talk about Teach Pendants today. I'm going to go over all the buttons. You guys ready? Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to learn the function of all the Teach Pendant keys. Show you where the function status indicators are at, function menus and the status indicators. And we're going to talk about the dead man switch. Okay, I mentioned that the other day. Let's talk about it formally right now. First things first, if you look in here and you look at our two robots, you'll notice there are two different Teach Pendants. One is the R30IA, the R30IA, what's called improved. Okay, we actually have an IA, it's on our welding robot. The improved is what we've got on the 1-200IC robot. And the 30IB is another improved level of Teach Pendant. Biggest difference you'll see, okay. This guy, 8 keys. This one, 6. You can control each of the axes on the original improved. They give you 2 more axes in case you have like the robot on like a gantry or a trolley, or if you've got something on the end effector that can actually add another axis to the robot. Maybe something rotates or something like that. So you have that ability. You've also got the little I button in there, and you can program that I to bring up all kinds of special screens. All good, nobody uses it. Here's the biggest difference. The new one has a touch screen. And trust me, once you get used to the touch screen, you won't want to go back to the other one. It makes everything about 10 times easier. This guy, everything is done on the buttons. This one, you can actually work right off the screen. Okay. That actually takes a little bit of getting used to, believe it or not. You will get a chance to work on both. So let's talk about the dead man switch first. What's the dead man switch for? We can read the slide. I won't do that. It's on the back of the Teach Pendant. Everyone's seen that before. You can grab it with either hand, but your one hand is going to be holding the whole Teach Pendant in place. The other one is going to be working the buttons. Again, you guys all like to use your thumbs because you're trained on Game Boys and stuff. You get used to it and you go, it's a lot faster, believe it or not. Here's what happens. If you grab the dead man and you let go of it while the Teach Pendant is on. Teach Pendant is on means what? It means you are in the process of training the robot or moving their jogging. You let go of that, what happens? All the servos lose their power, so nothing will move, and all the axis brakes come on. That means the robot is going to do what? It's going to freeze in place. Very fast. It does not take away all the power from everything, just the servo. Servo drives are what make the robot arms move. Okay. And as I mentioned the other day, I called it the dead man switch, the Goldilocks switch. Okay? You can't grip it too tight. You can't grip it too light. It's got to be just right in the middle. Not too hot, not too cold. Just right. You can feel it once you play with it a little bit. And the weird thing is, at least on the older version, if you really put a death grip on that thing, the error message on the display will say Teach Pendant released. Okay? Because it doesn't know the difference between too tight and not enough. I don't know if they fixed that. Okay. Again, too much force, you lose your power. It's like letting go of it. Let go of it. And if you're not grabbing it just right. You need to have the dead man switch on in place whenever you're using buttons on the Teach Pendant. Because if you let go, there's an error message. It'll say Teach Pendant released. Okay. While the switch is in the on position. Believe it or not, that gets to be somewhat tedious. You're holding that thing in your hand. Use that strap. It really matters. And makes your life a lot easier. The on-off switch, upper left-hand side. It's a toggle switch, maintained. Off is one way. When you're running the robot in auto mode, when you're running a program, executing it, you turn the Teach Pendant off. When the Teach Pendant is off, none of those buttons do anything. Most of those buttons don't do anything. You can still reset errors from the Teach Pendant, even with it off. You can still hit the E-stop when the Teach Pendant is off. You can still change the speed when the Teach Pendant is off. Okay, more about those things. But most of the stuff you don't do. Something else is controlling your robot. External source, your program that you've written, somebody else has written. Okay. The big red E-stop button is the emergency stop. Simple. There's an E-stop on the main controller, way down on the floor where you can't reach it. There's an E-stop up high on the Teach Pendant. Okay? Here it doesn't matter because the robot is inside this little window. But if you're working in an industrial setting with a fairly large size robot, if you go into that cell, usually there's a gate switch on the door, you should have Teach Pendant in your hand. Because that is the only way that guarantees you have control of that robot and you can shut it off if it's doing something that's dangerous, harmful, dangerous to you, harmful to somebody else. Really, there should be nobody else in that cell except you with that robot. You're setting it up. Okay. After you hit the E-stop, both of them are the same. Give it a slight twist to the right and it'll pop back up. It's a maintain button. So once you hit it, okay, and the status display will say, Teach Pendant E-stop pressed. Tells you right away, I gotta clear it off. If that E-stop is pressed, nothing else is gonna happen. Teach Pendant keys. What are we doing with the Teach Pendant keys? All this stuff. Navigation, data entry, we're going to move the robot, we're going to execute stuff, we're going to edit the program, edit your points, there's application specific, and then you got help diagnostic keys. They can actually tell you what to do. If you got to read the help diagnostic keys on the Teach Pendant, you're going to be really taking a long time. You need to know what's going on before you get the Teach Pendant in hand. So there's the keypad. Okay, that's what it looks like. That's where all the keys are at. This is the bigger keyboard, the newer one. How can you tell? Count the blue squares. Okay, you got these extra 4 down here that are not assigned. We don't use those for anything. So you can press those all day. I'm not sure what'll happen actually. I'm pretty sure nothing. So let's start with the F5, the function keys up on top. Those 5 function keys, F1, F2, F3, F4, are soft keys. They change their function depending on what's going on in the training session, in the program. If you're trying to open a gripper, if you're trying to jog the robot or do something different, a different menu will show up above those F4 keys, trying to assign a point, trying to touch up a point. That's where you'll do it, with those F1 through 4 keys. Okay? And it just depends on what's going on. You have to really look at those all the time. When you're using this robot, you constantly have to be looking at 2 places. One is the status bar up on top, and the other place is the menu right above these keys. Those are things that are constantly changing, they're dynamic. And if there's more than 5 things, and there usually are, and they're not always jammed together, you need to get to the next set of keys. That's what you use the next and the previous for. There is no escape key or no backup key on this. What you use for that is the previous key. Okay, so you take, if you're on a screen and you don't want to be there, hit the previous key. That will usually take you back to where you used to be. other key you can hit is this one. That's the menu key. That will bring up a whole list of menus. Okay, the menus are in a tree type structure. Okay, and we'll work our way through those as we get going. Not going to belabor on those things today. But that'll get you a lot of the functions that we want to play around with later on. Okay. Menu key. Later we'll do menu key. There's only about 3 or 4 things we're going to do with the menus in there. Select key. This is a biggie. Those keys that are right on that top row. Select, edit, and data. You want to edit a program? You want us to make a new program? Select is how you get access to what the programs are that are in the robot controller. The programs are actually stored in the robot. So as soon as you start typing, you define a new program, define a new name, it's in the robot. It's stored there, saved there. You can upload it later and save it to just a flash drive. And if you want to get at one, they're right there. Just press the select key. You can protect them, that sort of thing. We won't do that here. Edit key, you can do the same thing. You can edit data, you can edit robot points, you can edit all kinds of things. Data key if you've got program data. Okay. Counts, positions, you can tweak them. Mostly you're going to use the select key. There's a reason it's got a box around it that says Teach. The disk key display. Right now I've got the robot display set up with 2 screens, 2 windows. One on the left side, one on the right side. You can actually go to as many as 4. But by the time you do that, you can't really see as much, so 2 is about the limit. What I like to do is if I'm opening and closing the gripper a lot, I have one side is set up on the controls for the outputs and the inputs. The gripper controls the outputs. Okay. And then the other side's got your program logic. That makes it easy to jump back and forth between the displays and open and close the gripper as you're moving through your key. The display key is the button you push to change which display you're in. It's also, if you hit the shift in display, it's what you use to set up how many displays you've got. Leave that alone. You don't need to do that. Single, double, triple, maybe not display. You've got a window. Think of a TV screen, right? And you go picture in picture. Okay, or you split the screen in half, where one side is on one and the other, a whole different channel is on the other side. That's essentially the way it works. Okay, so I could have one function going on the right screen and another function going on the left screen. Okay. And that makes, you can see more about what's going on with the robot. And if you jump into the other screen, then you can actually do things without leaving your original screen, so you won't lose track of where you're at. Okay. It's really useful, for example, if you're trying to figure out where you're at, and you want to really watch where you're going carefully. You can put your position, your coordinates in one screen while you're jogging the robot and doing program setup in the other screen. For example, that's another way to use it. Okay. You'll see it when you start jogging the robot around and start programming it. You'll definitely see having that screen really helps. Okay. Function key. There's really only a couple times we use the function key, but one of the most important is before you run a program, you want to abort whatever the thing was doing before. So you press the function key and the top item on that menu is abort. And you just hit enter and it aborts everything and then it takes you back to the start of whatever program you're in. It says, okay, I want to start at the beginning. Quit whatever you're doing, Go back to the start of this program. Set all your registers back to nothing. Okay, all good. Or initialize, whatever. All right, the biggie, the shift key. There's 2 shift keys. One on the left side, one on the right side. Just like on a real typewriter, or a real keyboard. No, the keyboard's right. You only need to press one of them. So if you're using your left hand for whatever reason to hold the thing, you can press the right shift, or hold vice versa. Usually you hold it with your thumb, because it's in exactly the right place to hold it with your thumb. Okay. You're going to use that all the time. Whenever you're trying to move the robot, you're going to have that shift key held down. If you're trying to do something in a blue square, or the square has a lot of blue highlighting on it, like forward, back, forward, you generally want to hold down the shift key. There's a couple times when you don't want to hold down the shift key. Okay. The jog keys, these 6. Okay. The jog keys control all the movement of the robot.